All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Everybody stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, you may all have a seat. All right. We really don't have a roll. We don't have a roll call or nothing, right? So
Yeah, we do.
We do? Okay. Well, please roll call.
Councilman King.
Here.
Councilman Lawrence.
Here.
Mayor Frazier.
Here.
Councilwoman Flynn.
Here.
Councilman Kuhn.
Here.
Town Attorney Mr. Lander.
Here.
Town Clerk here.
Okay.
Before you get started, as you well may or may not know, the transportation people
We're trying to get there to it. Yes.
A meeting to get input from the town later. But anyway, there's a lady here, Sabrina, and she'd like to make a statement about that. So
Okay. Please. Yeah.
I want to just
Go ahead.
give her our
Yeah. Go right ahead. Please.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you all for having me tonight. My name is Sabrina. I'm a student with Florida State University's Department of Urban and Regional Planning. As mentioned, we're working collaboratively with the Florida Department of Transportation to identify transportation needs within Columbia County. Y'all might be aware of the project through radio station, Facebook, flyers, even mail to your door. However, I just wanted to come over here and invite y'all to a meeting we're having tonight. This is going to be the second meeting that we're having in Fort White. The first was to identify projects from you guys. The second one is going to be ranking those projects, so we could compile a prioritized draft list and send it on to it to DOT. So it'll be super important to get y'all's input on that. It's from 6:30 to 8:30. Don't run out of here. Come after. But we also will be providing free food from Horsepower Kitchen right off the road.
Good deal. Awesome.
The last
Thank
time
you.
they did it was very good. So we'll be there.
Yeah. So we're going to try to get through this fast tonight. We're going to try to be
You'll
there.
have dinner
Okay.
after you
So
do your
Yeah.
We're until 8:30, so.
good deal. Awesome. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks. Thank you.
Is there an agenda that starts at a certain time?
It's just free flow. We're going to compile.
All right, guys. Let's go ahead and get started.
I received an email today from John Cruz, and it's from, it also copied on the email was David Krause, and it says, "Good morning. On November 1st, the board requested the town set up a joint town-county meeting within the next 30 days. Please let us know the date and time for us to coordinate with the board to attend."
That's John Crew. Who's that?
John Cruz is the administrative assistant
Okay.
for the board.
All right. I called a workshop tonight to discuss the meeting that the county commissioners had November the 1st. I think Mr. Coon, I know Mr. Coon was the only one that was actually present. Mr. King went to it. He was there. I'm going to ask him to speak real quick tonight too. But if you've had time, I watched the meeting. I don't know if y'all had time. I know Bill was there. I don't know, Miss Mary, if you had time to watch the meeting. But, and Bill, and I'll let you speak also in a minute, give your input on it. But from what I got from the meeting was they was being very bullish in the meeting, okay? Ron had the audacity to make a motion and wanted it, I wish it would have passed, to be honest with you. Because I thought at that time, we could have probably had some legal action we could have took. So, but it didn't pass because the lawyer talked him out of it. But he made a rash motion of pulling all interlocals we have immediately from the town of Fort White, okay, which I feel like was pretty harsh. But anyway, and there's things, guys, that's over the last year that has been festering with the county. I know when Lindsay was first hired on, Lindsay can tell you his story with them. He found them very bullish. I mean, you've talked about it several times before, Mr. Landers. So I'm to the point, I'm tired of being bullied, I can tell you. Okay, I want what's right for the residents of Fort White, but I believe, and Mr. Coon, you might have been the one that said this to me when it came up of us giving our water away a long time ago. I don't know if it was you or it was somebody else.
I said it.
That we might not want to do this. Guys, when I first come on as mayor 5-6 years ago, the mindset of this town and the mindset of this board at that time was stay away from Columbia County. That was their mindset. I thought they were crazy. okay? I really did. I was like, man, what the hell? I mean, they're the bigger fish. Why not try to sow into what they got, work with them, and try to reap some rewards for the town of Fort White? I mean, they got it, so why don't we try to work with them? So that's kind of the approach that I took of when interlocals would come up or working, in 2020 we got a grant for $2.8 million that got cut when COVID hit. Governor had to slice some of the costs. So one of our projects that would have paid for the whole fix of the water got cut. So the following year we went back and asked for it again, but we only got $1 million of the 2.8. So that's when we started speaking and talking with the county with help. Well, they came. I mean, it wasn't like we asked them for it. They seen an opportunity to get their foot in the door in Fort White when that happened. So they started, calling me, talking to me, putting this thing together. Well, make a long story short, we acted, and we thought it all was a good idea at the time. I thought it was a good idea at the time. Now with all the things that has happened up to this point, and there's stuff, I could go on for hours up here about what all has happened behind closed doors with them guys. But the thing is, I don't think that they've got the best interest of Fort White at hand, okay? It's all something behind the scenes with these guys up there. And there's always an objective. So the meeting the other night, and like I said, I'm going to ask Mr. Carl to say a few words. I don't want him here all night. The main meeting I wanted to have tonight is to discuss this, but to figure out, they put a 30-day deadline on us. Okay, they don't have any interlocals. It ain't like they came in here and took all these interlocals. That we were already running this operation before they stepped into the picture. So the everyday water, the garbage, and so on. I watched the meeting the other night too about the garbage, how we're overcharging our residents a fee. That's because of them. Because if you think back, when Miss Connie had to do all the fees and lay this thing out when we approved it, we had to charge extra on that first year for the cost that the tax appraiser's office charges to set the accounts up. Then we was going to drop our fees back the following year. Well, what happened was, about the time we started trying to assess our fees back, Ms. Connie received a phone call from David Krause, and I think I even received an email, Waste Pro is going up in cost. Well, what is that fee going to be? Well, we don't know. That's the type of information we're getting, Ms. Connie's getting on a daily basis. It's always, I don't know, we don't know. So we couldn't adjust our fees for the residents because we didn't know where we were going to be at when all the dust settled. So we had to leave our fees where it was at. And when we went past the deadline to adjust anything, we're locked in now for another year until we knew where we was at. Then they're going to call us back and tell us that, the fees didn't change after the fact. Well, we can't adjust at this point. So we have to ride it out for a year. Then we can come back next year and we can adjust our fees. But see, they get you in a public meeting like that and they try to make it look like frowned upon on Fort White because we did what we did. We did it because of their lack of communication and their lack of organization that they got up there, not here. And Miss Connie can tell you numerous, she's called me thousands of times over the last 2 years trying to get information out of them on things like that. Me and Miss Connie, when we all sat down and we approved the garbage rates, what was one of the main topics on the garbage rates? Franchise fees. Over and over and over we have discussed franchise fees on commercial dumpsters. Fort White's always received franchise fees on commercial dumpsters. They knew that going into this. Several months went by, 6 months. Miss Connie's calling me, hey, we still have not received our franchise fees from Columbia County. She keeps calling. I finally picked up the phone, called David. I start calling him. So we're both basically calling him to find out at the end, after several phone calls, Fort White ain't got franchise fees. Well, why don't we have franchise fees? That's the agreement we signed when we went in with y'all. We're supposed to have, was it $14,000 that we should have received? So that $14,000, which is a lot of money to the town of Fort White right now, gone. We don't have it.
Well,
so that's
not only that, but we have to pay them $50,000 a year in tippage fees. And that's based on 250 households, okay? That right there that 50,000 divided out by the 250 households is $200. Okay, that's what they charge in Columbia County. They charge $196 per residence for garbage. Well, we have to give that to them alone. Plus we have lawyer fees, plus we have mailing fees, plus we have advertising fees, we have postage, we have to mail a letter out to every household in the town of Fort White, et cetera, et cetera. And that's where that extra money is, but they don't talk about any of that.
No, they try to make it look like we're doing something that we're not supposed to do, like we're overcharging rent, and we're not.
Well, how come their residents are paying that same thing then?
If the counties,
Because they own the
charging
landfill.
a tippage fee
They own
because
the
it's in
landfill.
Columbia County.
They own the landfill.
So they're charging us a tippage fee even though we're in Columbia County. We're getting charged this fee because it's their dump.
It's their dump. So it's not our dump, it's their dump. Which I'm okay, I'm okay with that, but I'm like, don't get in a meeting and try to make it look bad on Fort White because our fees are higher than yours. They're going to be. Even if we tried to match their fees, there's no way our fees will ever be what their fees are.
no, it can't be.
It won't be.
We discuss this.
Yeah, it won't be. So,
We're on this end of the county.
right. So,
Well, they gotta go through Fort White to go to the other side of the county.
right.
Yeah, but,
I mean, our county that
but when
big.
we were separated, that didn't matter to them.
Right, but
All of ours come from this end of the county.
we're supposed to be a team.
Right. Well, I agree.
That ain't teaming.
Well, and then the other night, I know you've seen it, Mr. Coons, when they showed up the 3,000 work orders they performed for Fort White and all this. Me and Connie sat down one day and she got the same email. She got them work orders. She went through all them work orders, okay? And what they didn't tell you in that meeting is that everything that's on that page, 97% of the stuff that was up there is all stuff to do with either the library, the county fields, Library, county fields, and the community center. Now, all that being said, and the sheriff's office.
Spraying.
Well, mosquito sprays they get grants for. So, and I haven't seen them in my subdivision one time this year. So I don't know where the mosquito spray is going. Anyway,
There were 6 work orders that could have been legitimate, and back on August 23rd, I did a public records request asking for copies of those 6 work orders to see what they really were. I have yet to get it.
so out of the 3,000 that Kevin Kirby sat there and tooted his horn the other day, how offended they were that the town of Fort White would even question them, and all this work they do, there was 6, right?
They had
That was-
152 work orders listed from January 1st through August of this year. And I went through them, and they forget I'm the one who implemented that system at the town. I know how it works. I went through every last one of them, and there were 6 that could have been legit. Like I said, I've asked for copies, I have yet to get them.
So, the work orders, and I know Mr. Coon asked a question at the end of the meeting, which I thought was a very great question. Because I seen they didn't pay you too much attention until they got to the end of the meeting.
Well, before the meeting started, I spoke and said, listen, I'm not here to answer questions for Fort White. I'm here for myself. I didn't want them to think that I was answering questions for this council.
I got you, okay.
I said, I'm here as a Fort White resident. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here, nothing to do with this council.
And if anybody watched the
So
meeting,
that's what was said before the meeting started.
if anybody watched the meeting, watched the end of the meeting, and when Mr. Coon asked a question to Ron Williams, are you trying to bully the town of Fort White? Not any commissioner could answer that question. They leaned back, crossed arms, and Mr. Kirby had to take over. Yeah, and thought about it.
I mean,
So Mr. Kirby had to take over, and then his, where that
Yeah, I
went.
see.
So that went off on a sidetrack somewhere to, they were talking about people at the beach and putting suntan on. So I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. So the question never got answered. I mean, I didn't feel like the question got
That's quite
answered.
obvious.
So, and that's what they do. They get you in the meetings and they sidetrack stuff, and then he'll ask the stupid question. Did I answer your question? No, you didn't answer my question.
I think the biggest question here is why the pressure to, what's the reason? Why are we given 30 days to decide?
No. It's not to decide, it's to have a meeting with them about the water, because they said Fort White will not meet with them. That's what was said in the meeting.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the water meeting that they want to have is the water meeting to discuss the joint venture, the
Authority.
The authority,
Okay.
the water authority.
So that is a voluntary process
Right.
that we can enter into or not enter into.
Right.
That's not tied to anything that we have ongoing now. I know the whole Ellisville thing, although I think they're trying to tie that to this authority, whereas it's a completely separate issue. So they're telling this council, you have to meet with us about this thing that we want to do,
Right.
or we're going to cancel all your interlocal agreements.
Right.
Well, those two things couldn't be any further from the same.
Exactly.
So to me, I find it interesting that they would say that in a public forum,
Right.
because the citizens of Fort White are also citizens of Columbia County, that those commissioners have a responsibility to, just like the rest of the citizens of this county. You can't separate the two out. I had no idea that you guys even have to pay a tippage fee. I think that's a different subject. So that's it. I mean, they're pressuring you to come to a meeting about something that you have absolute authority to agree to or not to agree to. And if you don't do it, they're going to cancel your interlocal agreements. Well, how is that building any kind of good faith for you to even consider entering into this authority with them?
That's my whole point.
When these other agreements that you have, they're holding them over your head and saying, we'll cancel all these if you don't come.
Right.
Well, not only that, but this water line was agreed to way before there was.
It was supposed to be done. It was supposed to be
discussion.
completed by the summer.
Well, and before the first discussion of any water authority ever took place.
Right.
So that water line has nothing to do with this alleged agreement?
They're running the water.
Oh.
They're supposed.
Well, they're saying they are now.
No, they are running the water.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
I'm glad you guys say that. I love you, man, but I'm glad you did. They told me a lot of things, but I ain't got it yet, so.
Well, and here's the other thing about the water line, okay? Bids were due in on September the 23rd. They have yet to be awarded. We've been told a couple of different stories about that. There was protests, then they had to hire a lawyer out of Tallahassee to handle the protests, to decide whether or not they would go ahead and open them, or whether or not it had to be rebid. Somebody told us that they threw them all out and they were going to put it out for rebid, but Kirby said no, he wasn't allowing that to happen until we agreed to the water authority agreement. So there's been all kinds of stuff, but I understand that they're still waiting on some sort of a decision from the attorney in Tallahassee.
And I'll tell you this too, I found this out yesterday or the day before. The two road projects that we got going, they've been put on hold.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Which,
Well, Jordan Street
and George?
Yep.
How are they put on hold?
And they're not letting them bid them out, they're doing it out doing it.
Well, those are DOT projects.
Doesn't matter, they have, because it's through the county though.
Right, it is through the county. They
That's
act
the
as our
problem.
representative.
That's the
I
problem.
think it's pretty clear here. Right? I mean,
It's through the, and I found that out from an outside source, that got halted, they hush, just put
They
something.
said in the meeting the other night, the next meeting, they will know who got the bid. It will be open and done. It'll be over.
What's that, on the water?
On the water coming to Fort White. Now that's, if they don't know within 30 days who got the bid and when it's gonna start, the next meeting.
Well, that'll be tomorrow night. That'll be tomorrow.
I'm just saying, all I can do is what.
I'm fancy that won't happen.
All I can say is what was said in that meeting.
Well, they meet on the
Yeah,
first
there's a lot
and
of
third Thursdays of every month,
Yeah.
okay? Tomorrow is the first Thursday,
No,
so.
they said 30,
30
the next
days.
meeting.
Oh, so
Not-
this-
not-
Yeah, not
yeah.
this
Third
or next, but the
Thursday.
following one.
Yeah.
About 6 months.
Well, this, from September 23rd, 2 months it takes.
Right. Got, I guess the question on the table right now, what
What was bad about the contractors that protested it, one of them was saying that the pipe that was already bought, some of that wasn't included in his bid. The other contractor said it was. That's the dispute.
I got you.
Now, that's,
Who'd that come from?
that come from the county. Of what, no, that come from the lawyer that, for the county. That's what he said the other night in the meeting.
Yeah.
That there was two different, the perceptions of what the bid was. Now, was they rebidding it? I don't know. They said the other night that
Yes.
within 30 days they would have the, which don't have nothing to do with what we're talking about now. But they were saying that, well, I picked the time and the date for the meeting, and then we scheduled a workshop that night.
That's not true.
Well, let's have it at the community
Yeah, it's
center.
gotta be here.
And let's set a date right now.
Every single time they have
It's
called
for the
us
south
and
end of the
told
county.
us when the meeting was gonna be. Just like that November 1st meeting,
Yeah, they've already scheduled it, yeah.
They did not dispute that.
Yeah.
They disputed the one that we had our, workshop that night. They said that Fort White picked that date, and then we scheduled.
And Rocky followed up with, that, if that ain't the mayor being bully, I don't know what bullying is.
Now, he asked me after I.
No, he said in the meeting. He said, I've seen it on tape. He said, the mayor's being, he said, you don't call that bullying? That's bullying. But we scheduled a workshop?
After I said the bullying, he said, that ain't bullying?
yeah, it was in the
Something
meeting.
like
It was
that.
something in the meeting, yeah, it was in the meeting, so yeah. It was in the
Anyway.
meeting, so.
What, Lindsay, you got, what do you think about this?
I think we can't pick a day and place tonight, because this is a workshop. We can discuss one, and then we can.
Can we give Miss Connie forward motion to go get with their manager and say, hey, here's what the board has talked about.
Oh, sure.
Let's plan a date in Fort White at the community center, because everything on this topic is including all these residents in Fort White, not Lake City citizens, Fort White citizens. So let's have it right here in the community center. If y'all want to meet with us that bad about the water authority, and let Connie and David pick a date, and we'll be there.
Correct me if I'm wrong, bro. Didn't they say it took them, so.
30 days.
If you give that, it takes them 30 days to get it passed.
Right.
To have a meeting for that.
No,
That is what they said.
I can answer that.
What did
They
they
have
say?
to do a resolution.
Right.
They have to do a
That's right.
resolution. A resolution does not take 30 days. They can do a resolution tomorrow night.
Correct.
Well, let's send them that then.
So we want to do it, if they want to do a meeting at the community center, Fort White,
City manager.
and, they pick a date and.
It's gonna have to be after 6,
Right.
or for me, I don't know if y'all's schedule, but I
I
can't go at 9 a.m. at 9
It's hard for
a.m.
me to get here before 6.
So 6 o'clock?
5 I can, but
No, let's do it 6.
6 is better.
Yeah.
6 is
I
probably
work at
better.
Live Oak.
Yeah, 6 is
On the
probably
other
better
side
for
of
the,
it,
6 is probably better for the residents too, especially if people's working, so that'd be good, so. And we need to publicize it to the Fort White citizens so they'll know that,
Heavily.
yeah, heavily, it's heavily. So,
Area.
yeah, so, yes, ma'am.
What, any
I don't
night
care.
of the week preferable?
Monday or
over
Friday.
other? No Monday, no Friday.
No, Monday or a Friday.
Have it on a Monday
Monday.
or a Friday.
On Monday, be great.
Monday would be better for me because if we're still in the playoffs playing football, I won't be here, yeah.
Friday.
Not a Friday, we'll be playing
Not
football.
Friday.
Not a Friday.
Okay.
My town across city
Yeah, you have a problem with
meets
that.
second and fourth Mondays.
Not
So 1 and 3rd.
1 and 3,
second
1 and 3 Monday.
1 and 3.
or.
We'll have you all confused about who's trying to forget what's name.
Hey, we do it on the 3rd Monday, we have our council meeting.
Go
And then we
ahead.
run down the road.
Yeah. like we're doing tonight,
You
yeah.
could have your council meeting scheduled.
absolutely.
That's be the thing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Let's do that.
Have your council, you just
Could do that?
And have
say it. We'll have our,
Have our regular meeting and then adjourn that and go into the joint meeting.
Yeah, let's do
Or
that.
can we have that on the agenda? So it's-
Well, we don't really, is there anything pending right now? Or we'll just have that as our regular meeting?
No, there will be some.
we've got some stuff in, and we have to have a public hearing.
Yeah, we'll make them sit there wait a little bit, so I like
Now,
it.
now with that meeting with
So why
them,
don't we
their
have our
meeting,
meeting at 6 and tell them we'll have the joint one at 7?
You can have
How about
that.
That'd be
Well,
perfect.
that joint meeting will
Y'all go ahead
decisions
and
be
get
made.
Plan B, because they don't.
It'll be-
This will just be an informational type deal.
Huh?
You said they're not
We're not
coming
gonna vote on
I said go ahead and get a Plan B, because they're not coming to Fort White.
They're not,
Huh?
they're not.
Why?
I didn't ask them why they wouldn't, but
They just
they
said-
said they've had 3 down here and we've been to none of theirs.
they was all at the trunk or treat Rocky hosting.
But I didn't say that.
That we help pay for.
Yeah. All right, there was something else on my mind I wanted to say, but I got sidetracked. I don't know what it was about the backhoe. The ring power guy came by the other day and seen Miss Connie and said that since this is what's so funny is that we have called, I bet you I've talked to David Krause. I've talked to Rocky Ford about it several times. Only person I have not talked to was Kevin Kirby because I just refused to call him. Connie's talked to Kevin Kirby though several times about the backhoe and the dump truck. But that dump truck has been in Lake City for what, last
No, the back.
I mean the backhoe.
Not the dump truck.
Backhoe's been in Lake City.
And the implements. Remember they were here and said that they were holding it for the
Till
implements
October.
to come, so to make one delivery? No. The implements and the backhoe have been sitting at Public Works for approximately 2 months.
Yeah.
And
And,
I'm sure
yeah.
you'll see me at the meeting.
Huh?
I said, I'm sure you'll see me at the meeting. Kraus will, when you mention it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you'll see me.
Yeah. So,
The ring power
The-
guy told me that, and they're the ones they bought it from. And they
Yeah.
delivered it to Public Works.
So, yeah, and we've got, so Lindsay, where do we stand on that? Since we've got a letter from the city manager, and let's say that they, listen, let's go to Plan B now. Let's say they say, no, they're not coming to Fort White. Well, I'm not going to Lake City.
Okay.
So that's, as long as y'all okay with it. I'm not going, y'all can go, but I won't go to Lake City. I don't think anything that's on this agenda.
It's a disservice to our residents to expect them to travel all the way to Lake City when all the issues have to deal with Fort
Right.
White.
I was gonna say, it's all about Fort White, so with what we're gonna be discussing, so if they can't come to Fort White and discuss it, they represent Fort White, they're county commissioners of Columbia County, so
I've
I,
never seen anything like this. You guys have probably already heard me say this before, but I've never seen anything like this. So, at this point, I would say set the meeting, set it for here, highly publicize it. If they don't show, it's
Right.
on them.
Right.
And if they want to cancel all these interlocal agreements, which is going to cause a huge, at least short-term issue for everyone, for them and us,
right,
then I think they're the ones that are going to look bad for doing that.
right.
They vote next year.
Well, and let me ask you this question, so if that happens, go to Plan B, we've got letters from their city manager saying they owe us a backhoe and a dump truck. Do we start legal proceedings at that point?
That's the one reason I wanted to get these interlocals all together and to take a look at them to see, I don't want to get quoted in the paper. I know Stu's not here.
Right.
And I would say that if he was here. I'm speaking hypothetically.
Right.
Okay? Hypothetically, these things are approaching bad faith, creating expectations and creating partnerships and then backing out without any just cause. Now, most of these interlocal agreements, I bet you all of them, will have language in them that says you can basically terminate them without cause. They have 30 days,
Anytime.
we're out. But that's standard, okay? That is a
Right.
standard thing within government. No government attorney is ever going to let you enter into an agreement that you can't back out of because governments can't obligate themselves in a way that you can't back out of because you don't know about tax bases and things like that. That don't have any control over.
Right.
That said, those things are written that way for that reason, not for the reason of, oh, we're mad at you because you won't join our authority, so we're going to pull out. Right? So I think there is some elements of bad faith and us having relied on these agreements we've made, and especially if we have written documents from county officials that says we have this equipment that you have, you know, that you're entitled to, but we're just not giving it to you. I don't know about the money we're supposed to get. We're supposed to get like $25,000. Have we got that money yet?
Nope.
No, we were supposed to get it in October though, weren't we?
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
October 1st.
So see, I pay attention.
There's a lot, that's what I'm saying, there's a lot of things right now that is non-void right now. I mean,
And
it's-
so if they're just not going to cooperate and they're going to start doing these things, then I think it will be hypothetically time to sit down with our risk management and say, what options do we have to bring an action against the county? It would be a novel thing for me, at least, because like I said, I've never seen things get to this level between counties and cities, and it's just all of this is inconceivable to me. I'm sure it's happened somewhere else, and we have to figure that out, figure out where we go. But I definitely think if you guys were doing things and acting in a way that I felt was not, that was a personally vindictive, I would tell you. I would tell you privately, but I would tell you.
Right.
And what I see here is the complete opposite. Is that they're vindictively doing some of these things because we're not going along with whatever plan they have, or basically towing their line. So I think that's a long answer.
Right.
To say
No, I understand.
Well, David Krause himself has said to me and to Ronnie, and I don't know who else, but he has said both to us that none of these problems existed until y'all put your foot down about having to comply with the rules for the subdivision. He said that.
And he did. I know he told me that. I know he plainly told me that. So,
which is a whole other issue that sits out there. That's sort of the big shadow that looms over all.
The elephant in the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
yeah.
So,
Well, and then, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I guess it would be for Lindsay. In most interlocal agreements that I've been familiar with, that exception clause that, hey, you can get rid of them within 30 days, it normally requires approval of all the participants in the agreement. So I would ask you to kind of look at the words, and then, because what happens then, if you have someone who disputes, well, we're not going to do that, okay, then it becomes more of a legal thing, and then they fight out the whys and this thing. But most of the time, I mean, I've never seen one that just says any party in an agreement can cancel this agreement just like that.
these interlocal agreements that are here, and I looked through all of them, I've looked through a couple of them, basically say either side can do that. So it would take a majority vote of the county commission to do it.
Right.
They can do it. They can cancel this interlocal agreement. And it doesn't take both of us having to agree to cancel the interlocal agreement like you're talking about. I understand what you're saying. I'm saying that's not the case.
Well, for instance, this is the interlocal agreement for the maintenance and operation of the traffic signals and lights in the town, and it says, county and town shall have the right to terminate this agreement with or without cause upon 30 days written notice by certified mail to the representatives set forth above.
And see, a lot of our interlocals are written that way, and some of them are saying like a year. Some of them are good for 3 years. Some of them are good for, so some of them don't get 30-day notice. I think some of them gives, 6 months. Some of them gives a year. He went over that in the meeting.
I think they're not talking about 30 days. They're talking about it fading out. Some of them, like I said.
Some of them was 30, some of them was 60, some of them was 90.
Not to renew them, is what they're saying.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what their lawyer instructed. You can't just shut it down. You got to give it. And there was different time limits on different agreements.
Oh, they wanted to shut it down.
Yeah.
Immediately. That's what Ron Wiggins
So
said.
that was wrong.
Yeah, he said immediately. Pull it back.
All of them, if you're telling us 30 days.
No, yeah.
And if they're saying they're not coming down here, I mean, that's
Mr. Kane, go ahead, man. So.
Do we pay for any of the services in the interlocals, like
The signals, the traffic signals,
traffic signal?
we pay on, I don't know what else.
I can tell you
I know the
exactly
traffic
what we're
signals
gonna have
we
to
do.
pay them this year. The traffic signals
We got our
are
money,
going to
they ain't
be
getting our money.
$9,600, and the lights, hold on one second, my paper just.
I guess my point
I
is,
think that's all they're not.
they're not
We'll
doing
have
free
20
audits.
It's approximately
No,
A lot of those
$25,000.
grants and stuff we got, like the sidewalks and stuff,
So I guess where I'm going
and the
is,
roads.
if push comes to shove and they do pay some of them, your Bill's exactly right. There was some that went as far as 3 years, but some of them was as little as
Right.
30 days.
Yeah.
But the motion they made was within 30 days, that if we haven't, if Fort White hasn't met with them or set a date at their location, then they was gonna start the process. So if you have them 30 days from November the 1st would start the countdown,
Right.
going away with the interlocals. But if you're paying for services rendered, I mean, I don't know how much of a discount you're getting. You might be able to get that maintenance done by somebody else.
Right. And that's what we've already talked about, me and Miss Connie, is that, we know that we got a fee, I think Miss Connie did she was up there for years, and she knows what it costs to run the traffic light stuff. And we're paying way over what it costs to run a traffic light. So we could get that probably for a lot less. So, and that's just one thing, I know they threw up the grading of the road. they grade a quarter of a mile of a road right here. They're already going, Miss Connie said, they're already grading the back side of it coming down the road. Well, you got a quarter of a mile to finish it. So, yes, sir.
How many interlocal agreements are there?
There's 9 right here.
9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But they're when you say 9, there's Jordan Street, which we've got a contract with them to pave Jordan Street, or the county's got a contract with DOT. So you got wastewater, which is, we don't have wastewater yet. We're working on it. Code enforcement, which is absolutely a joke. We need to open, and me and Ms. Connie's talked about that several times. We have got to get our own code enforcement back. Utility operations.
That's water.
That's water. So they receive all the payments now from the residents on our water facility. We don't receive the payments no more. So they're getting the money for that. So everything here, like the traffic signal, we're paying for that. Garbage. Where the residents are paying for that, we're just piggybacking off of them. So there's not really nothing that's set in stone where all these things are minute. They're very simple. It's not like it's not very complicated, I guess is what I'm saying.
The two biggies are the water and the wastewater.
Right.
That's the two biggies.
Which we just have to get a system, did you ever check and see if that grant was given to Fort White, that they received that money
I
off
haven't
of?
got an answer back yet. I'm waiting on
Stay
it.
on top of that, because if that grant was written at Fort White, they owe us that system. So
Well, he's talking about the grant to replace all the meters in Fort White. They got a grant from Swanee River Water Management District for that, but we paid for the installation of the meters. The town did. So what I want to see is whose name that grant was put in, because if for some reason we have to end up taking it back, that included a software system worth about $25,000.
and that's if it's in our name, that grant's in our name, that's our software system. So hand it over. So yeah. So anyway, guys, like I said, I take full responsibility for leading this board into, I feel like, the wrong direction several years ago. Nothing that I thought was going, I never pictured us being here. Okay? I'll just say that. I figured that this thing was going to really take off, and Columbia County would have treated us well. And it has not been that way at all. And Miss Connie can tell you, she fights with them every day, and she calls me, and I've got to stop doing what I'm doing to get involved in it over silliness. And I'm like, and it's almost, if y'all could be in the everyday operations with me and Miss Connie, you would see how unorganized they are. It's funny. So you, as a business-minded person, do we really want hook ourselves into these people. I mean, it's already a mess. Well, what are we going to be discussing in 2 years from now? I mean, I'm like, it could be a disaster. And that's what I see. I see that you have a very bully-minded group of guys up there, 5. And I'm not going to say they're all that way, but the majority that's running that board is that way. And I feel like they're doing it with the sheriff's office right now. They're fighting like tooth and nail with the sheriff. They won't give him his money. What about the city of Lake City that's right there with them? They can't stand each other. So it's not just us. It's not that we're being very difficult to deal with. It's obviously they got a problem with everybody. Everybody that won't agree with what they want to do. And that's where we're at, as I'm going, man, this is absolutely asinine. And as Lindsay said, Lindsay's been doing municipal law for what, 25, 30 years? 25 years. He said, this is the craziest thing. He's told me that several times. He said, man, I ain't never seen nothing like this before in my life, man. So, we're going to try to book a meeting with them at the community center. Mr. Coons said they ain't coming, so we need to be prepared to come back to another special meeting, and let's go to Plan B.
Is there any special language that needs to go into this invitation that I send?
Can I write it? I put a lot of special.
No.
I put a lot of special language in it.
I would just say two things. First of all, no. Just say we want to have this meeting. This is the date that we have. I'm assuming we're talking about our December meeting. Or December
18th.
December 18th, we're going to have it here. This is what we're going to do.
I won't be here. That's my wife's birthday. I'll be out of town. I mean, I know we're going to Atlanta.
So we're having our meeting, and we're inviting you, per your request, to have a joint meeting.
Well, that might work in your favor, Bill.
No, I want to be there.
Yeah.
Well, then tell
everybody thinks different. I don't think we need.
Well, the problem is
I don't think we need to exclude Columbia County from everything we do.
Right. Well, we need to. Well, I don't know if we have that option. Everyone's taking it away from us. I'm not. Listen.
I'm not going there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I think they're needed.
Right.
On some things.
Right. I would love for them to be a part of what we got going on, but they got to come back down to earth and be willing to take it over. Yeah.
I'm just disagreeing with. We don't need them.
I think the transparency, the lack of integrity,
or maybe need isn't the word. We really should work with them on something for the residents.
Right. And all that. And I would love to if they'll do that, but it sounds like to me we don't have.
Until 3 months ago.
It don't sound like to me we have an option. I mean, it sounds like they're giving us no option. Basically, and Lindsay, here's what I hear, guys. Here's what I hear. I hear y'all do this, y'all meet with us, and there's an agenda behind this meeting. I don't know what it is. I got a good idea what it is.
Did you say why they are so bent on meeting with us? What is the purpose of it?
Because they want to know about the authority, whether we're doing it or not. And I'm not saying we bullying y'all to make y'all do it. They want a meeting to hear our side, whether we're going to do it or not. That's the way I took it. Just an answer.
And what do you think they're going to do when we say no? If we say no?
Don't know.
Same thing.
Well,
this shit out and throw it
I'm willing to go to that meeting and tell them that y'all said no, and we'll go from there. As long as somebody has a meeting and gives them an answer, then we'll see if they plan on it.
But here's the thing that everybody needs to understand. They requested 4 items in writing that we didn't agree with on the original draft of the authority, okay? They asked for us to put those items in writing. We did, okay? We put those items in writing. The second draft we got, 2 of the 4 were totally left out.
And all we were trying to do so the board don't feel left out, all we were trying to do is get it to our favor a little bit. It wasn't going down in stone. Then we were going to bring it back to the council here and see if y'all had any more additives that you wanted to. Was there anything that we looked like we left out before we agree all on this? That's kind of, it was just a starting point.
The 4 items were equal representation, 2 people from Fort White, 2 people from the county, those 4 picked the 5th.
Because they came to us with
3 and 2.
3 and 2. 3 from there and 2 from here. Yeah, so we changed that.
The other thing was the $25,000. We asked that we continue to receive the $25,000 annually in lieu of the loss of the water income that we have given over to them. We ask that that continue until such time as the utility authority itself would be profitable, and then we would get a percentage. We ask for that. We ask that there be language in there that would guarantee funding of the authority, because the way they had it, the Board of County Commissioners totally funded the authority. Well, what happens if they decide not to fund the authority? Then we're out.
Right.
We asked for that, and I forgot the 4th one.
It was I don't remember, the 4th one was something, I don't know. But that was going to give us a starting point, and then it just it never went from there. But, you know, the water authority, like Mr. Lindsay just said, it has nothing to do with our interlocals. And I guess my question is why, if the water authority is so important to them, which obviously it is, do you think that maybe David Krause or Rocky Ford or Ron Williams or somebody from up there could have picked up the phone, called you? Hell, call somebody, because y'all can talk. Y'all not on the same board. I mean, I'm just trying to find out why the meeting. Well, why is this meeting? You're holding something over a town's head. You're willing to take away and hurt the residents over a meeting. So I'm just trying to figure out what the excitement of the meeting is, but they could have picked up the phone and called you or called Miss Mary, call whoever, and said, "Hey, what do y'all think about this water authority? Are we going?" I thought we were moving forward. Until all this happened. Now I've taken a step back and said, whoa, hold up. We might not want to do this with them now, the way they've acted the last couple months. So, but before all this happened, the water authority was going, everything was running smooth, water line's supposed to be coming, nothing said, subdivision gets denied. All of a sudden everything starts getting a little rocky. Now, next thing you know, and now we're ended up here. And I'm trying to figure out, why couldn't you just pick up the phone and call and say, hey, what is your board thinking? I could have come here and said, special meeting. Guys, what y'all think about the water authority? I don't like it. I like it. Okay, great. They like it. They don't like it. It's real simple. If that's the only answer, there's more to that meeting than we know. And I don't know what it is. And that's what's kind of got me. And then them demanding that we come, hold our items over our head and go, no, you'll be here, we'll take them away from you. That makes me not want to go to that. It makes me not want to go that much more. That's kind of where I'm at. So,
the 4th item, they didn't have the water line in the authority agreement. There was nothing in the agreement about putting that water line in from Ellisville
that's right.
to Fort White that we've paid $1 million for already.
Yeah, they hadn't had that in. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, let me play devil's advocate.
Okay.
You know, it sounds like that we're getting across the breakers just like Lake City in the county. And I agree with you 100% on probably your feelings on this. But if you go to them with a hard, fast, this is going to be our date, our place, right now, you know you're just going to be beating heads. Can't you give them 1 or 2 different times that you can meet? Does it always have to be locked to the meeting that you all know?
Well, no, we didn't set a meeting. We're letting her and their county manager work the dates out.
Yeah, I understand it, but I would give them not just one date. Okay, give them. We ought to show that, hey, look, we would like to get together, and here's a period of time. You all pick it. It doesn't have to be It doesn't have to be the same night that you have your meeting, does it?
No.
No, we're available the first week and the third week. So
That's why we made it with her and their manager talk and figure out a date. We don't care what
there's
this.
no set date, so we're all embracing any day.
All that was said is that
When
our
we're available.
lawyer can't be there on the second and fourth Mondays.
I have another meeting.
I understand, I mean, it just seems like that, you got to, we don't want to get like the county in Lake City. My God, that's a disaster up there. Okay, they can't do anything right. Okay, and most of us in both boards. Okay, I mean, you've seen it, I've read it, you've seen it all in person. And I'm just thinking, maybe it's time to just kind of ease back a little bit on how hard we go at it, and kind of play. Here's a period of time. Pick a date. But we would like to have it over at our community center because of the town of Fort White residents. Then let them come back and throw the hand grenade at you or whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's pretty much what we're playing. That's what we're doing. We're saying, hey, Connie, you called their manager, you pick a date, let's have it here. And
On our next regular meeting, are we going to decide if we want to join authority or not? That's what they're wanting to know. I mean, it's not, are y'all going to join it? Y'all going to join it, or are we going to take all this away? That's not what they're wanting to know.
Agenda before you have the meeting.
They're wanting a meeting.
Well, the thing about it is that if you decide to join the authority, you have to have an agreement that you're willing to agree to.
yeah, you can't just say, I want to join the
You can't just say,
authority.
yeah, I want to join the authority, but what are you agreeing to when you say that? And that's been the problem. And that's why we didn't go to the meetings before, is because they never had anything in writing. They wanted us to come to these meetings and agree to stuff, and we have nothing to show any of you. We didn't have a draft, we didn't have anything.
Yeah, there's nothing to, we don't know what we're going to agree on. Well, you can't agree on anything, because, I mean, there's nothing in writing. Mr. King, you.
From November 1st meeting, what I gathered from the county commissioners and staff was that they want to sit down and negotiate with Fort White. They are adamant about having it their place because of the past. They've had several meetings down here, and I think the last meeting they had, somebody in the press called them out because they didn't advertise it correctly. So,
You know how long ago that was?
no, ma'am, it really doesn't matter.
Stu is the one that called them out.
That's fine. However, as a voice of reason, I think, just like the gentleman in the back said, I think some of the grown-ups need to come and sit down and think about the constituents.
Right.
I'm in agreement with Bill. If we say we're only meeting in Fort White, there won't be any meeting. And then it's going to be plastered all over the newspaper, all over social media. And believe it or not, in this day and time, people read more social media than they do newspapers. So I would recommend that you and staff can't work out meeting, then come back. So, well, I'm going to have to go back to the board. We can't vote on nothing except for at the meetings. I would come back. I would get me an agenda. I would have 5 items that they want to talk about. I think I've read this interlocal agreement, and it was put together. Not throwing rocks at you, but it was put together by a lawyer. He's a lot of.
Not me.
No, I know who put it together, and he's pretty good.
You talking about the authority agreement?
Yes, ma'am, it's study.
It's just,
There's a bunch of stuff in there I wouldn't, as a councilman, want to be reliable for because it involves the North Florida water treatment out there almost in between.
right.
And what you're going to do, I feel like what could happen is, being we are a small community, we're depressed, we're economically challenged, I see where grant funding would come through here, but it's going to be going all over the place. There's no place in there that says about a budget. There's nothing about how you fund it, no ad valorem taxes, no millage, no nothing. It's just, like somebody else said it, they throw the spitballs up there on the wall, so it won't, that would be a very, very bad agreement to enter into, I feel.
Right.
And you're gonna lose the integrity and the face of Fort White. I mean, just like Bill, you said, you've got family buried out there in the cemetery. Well, it might not be Fort White Cemetery in 5 years.
What's up?
But I do think, if y'all can't reach an agreement, I do think an olive branch needs to be extended and say, we'll meet with y'all, but, you know, here's our list of things, and why they want this agreement, since they already agreed to put water down here to the county, to the city limits. What's the plus for us, other than getting handcuffed with all of these other agreements that they've already got?
That's my thought with it.
Where's it gonna make life better for the residents in Fort White?
Right.
It obligates us to all of their existing.
Exactly. That's, I got it highlighted. It's, you can take on all of that, and they're gonna be able to raise bonds in the town's name.
Right. They'll be getting a lot of grants and, oh yeah. I thought about it.
And you know, I'm not a politician by any means, but I can see why they would want a board to take the heat. Is it, well, it's not me, you know.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents. I know it doesn't equal but a penny, but that's my 2 cents.
Well, one of my problems as well with that is we both decided to have an unbiased board. So the last slap in the face was, okay, we'll have a non-biased board, but we're going to have 3 members and y'all are going to have 2.
Yeah, that's not non-biased at all.
I mean, I'm not a mathematician either, but.
And I said this before, I know you guys probably got to go to your other meeting, but let me remind everybody as we consider this, and of course this workshop we're talking about stuff, is that I won't mention the name of the board, but I was involved at one point in a water board, which would be very similar to this water authority that we're on. And it was a volunteer board that were appointed by other officials. It was exactly the same setup as you guys have.
Oh yeah.
And I think the word I used last time was dumpster fire. And it was. And it was a constantly revolving board of the board. So you guys are talking about, well, we want an unbiased board, because we want to be able to appoint these people. And that all sounds well and good on paper until you actually do it. And then you have people who get on there and get frustrated and they quit because they're not making, they're not getting paid. I think they get paid like $100 a meeting or something like that. So they're not getting paid to be there. They don't feel an obligation. They weren't elected to be there. They volunteered to do it. So they said, heck with it, I quit. And so I've actually been involved with 3 of these over the years. I just have the one in the forefront of my mind that was really, really bad for this reason. It was constantly vacancies on the board. Well, vacancies on the board can also lead to a quorum that works in one side over the other.
Oh yeah.
And these are the same people, the concerns that Mr. King raised about all the obligations and stuff they're putting in. These are the people who are also making decisions that can make, things harder and more obligated, etc., for the town. So I'm really not saying don't join the water authority. I'm not jumping up and down. I'm just saying really consider all these things as you go forward and think about it. And I'm glad that I've had that perspective of seeing it in the past. It's Ron to pass that along, if you didn't already know, about what the problems with these volunteer, they really don't answer to anybody. That's how they feel. They don't really answer to anybody because they're non-elected, non-constituent. They can just quit tomorrow if they want to.
Right.
And so you hope you put good people on the board. Well, good people can get frustrated. And just say the heck with it. Or good people could decide, well, I'm going to go off on a tangent that the people who put me here never thought that I would go off on.
That's true. So yes, sir.
So what's the option if we don't do something like that? What's the solution?
We take it back over.
Take our water back over. Yeah, take the water back over.
There's not but a couple, or let them keep running it the way they're doing without the authority. I mean, that's our options.
Well, will they do it?
Huh?
That's
Well, that's what we're talking
Well, we got a year. I think that's one of the things that came up. I think the water was about a year, I believe it was, the other night. So they got about a year left on that running the water system. But I mean, if we need to have a plan back up B if this don't get ironed out. So, and I do agree with what I was thinking about that. What you just said the other day, I was saying I'm glad you brought it up because I thought about it the other day. What if you do get that board, and like you said, you know, and guys, we're only pulling from about 300 constituents here in Fort White. Yeah. They're pulling from a lot of people up there, so I'm sure they can keep their numbers in place. Mm-hmm. It could be hard for us to find people to go, like you said, for $100, and you have to deal with people, and I mean,
and it's going to be a big job.
But it'll be. I would give it 6 months before you have vacancies, because there's a law, a county law, that you can't force people to get on the water system.
Really?
That happened when they took over Ellisville.
And that was
really
fire.
Yeah. And now you got to put in
They try to make
$50-60 million worth of infrastructure, but you can't force it back. I say you can't force it. When it goes by your house, you can't force them.
Right.
They have the option then, but it's going to come a time when you're not going to get a septic tank pumped out.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're not going to get a new drain field put in because of the issues with water. I mean, that's coming.
That's coming.
Well, I can tell you this, that they're already asking us for an ordinance for mandatory connection to the sewer from the town of Fort White.
The county is.
They are asking, North Florida Professional Services is asking for it to submit to DEP.
I would ask for the counties.
Yeah.
Who's going to tell them that? I ain't telling the resident they got to tie into a
not until they system. I mean, that's going to be on their. To me, that's going to be on their decision at the time that it gets put in. If and I think the way that I understand it, right? Kind of, you might have said better than me, but if they do it at the time we put the system in, then it's free.
Sure.
Right.
Connection's free, everything. But if they wait until the time,
what's going to happen is, if they're allowed not to hook to it, is once they have a problem, the state's going to say, you can't fix it, you got to hook to that.
Right. And then they're going to have to pay all that money.
And then it's going to start that much more, because it costs them so much to hook to it.
Right.
Well, that's what
you're right. They're not going to.
And the new system that they're going with,
as much as they can over the next several years.
and that new system they're making you go in with, the expensive system. Plus, it's a monthly fee, they say, on that thing to keep it going. So for some reason, I don't know what it is, but they say it's a monthly fee on it too. So, but
I think if y'all are considering it, we need to meet so we can negotiate. If y'all ain't considering it, I don't see no need to meet.
I'm not considering it at all.
Well,
my honest opinion.
About the water authority.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, guys, listen. If you'd have asked me this question a year ago, I was bound, bent, hell determined. I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah.
But all the things that has happened over the last year, at this point, and all the information we're gathering, and that's why it's so crazy in municipality law, because things like this, you look at a contract, it looks really good, but when you really get into the guts of it, start bringing things up like Mr. Coyle, like what you just said, you go, damn, that might not be such a good deal after all. I mean, I didn't think we was taking on all the financial burden, all this, all that. And then you got member problems. It sounds like an HOA to me.
Yeah.
It's going to be a nightmare. You know, I'm not paying my HOV. You know, heck with y'all, I'm gone. So that's what it sounds like to me. I'm going, do we really want now? So I don't know, man. I'm really, well, the biggest thing to help me make the decision is how they've acted the last several months. So I would have to say that I am not for the water authority right now. They would have to really come to the table with some kind of crazy offer. And I know they're not. But I heard in a meeting, I heard Tim Murphy, And one of them, I heard Tim Murphy, I totally against that $25,000. I'd never vote on that again. So, well, that's great then. Okay. And see, I was also told by David Kraus 2 days ago that I would be receiving a phone call from the county commissioner. And my phone has, but I got this phone with me 24/7. I still do. I got a phone call from the county commissioner. So that's the thing. That's the type of communication I'm telling you. If somebody would have reached out to us, I could have asked y'all at one of our meetings, "Hey, y'all in on this water authority thing?" And I could have responded back to him and said, "No, they ain't digging it, or yeah, they're all about it." So yes, I would say that I don't know where y'all stand at, Ms. Mary, Jason, but I would have to say that I'm in agreement. I'm not for it. I'm not at this point. And
I have a question for Mr. Carl, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
At that legislative appropriations meeting that you went to in reference to the town of Fort White, was there any mention made by the county on their list of projects that they were asking for? Was there anything in those list of projects having to do with the water here in Fort White?
No.
I didn't think so. So we have until November the 13th
Yes.
to apply for money from the legislature to improve our water system here in the town of Fort White. And just to bring you all up to speed, when I found that out, I called up North Florida Professional Services and I said, hey, we have an opportunity here, but it's got to be done by November 13th. I went to them, we sat down, we hammered out some things that we need here with the water system, and they're putting together an application for us for $3.3 million.
And I talked to Miss Bradley too.
What that's going to entail is creating some more loops in the water system so that we can do away with the dead ends. Hopefully that will help with the flushing and the wasting of water that we're continuing to have to do. Replacing of valves that are bad, and putting in some isolation valves so that if you have to put in a tap somewhere, you don't have to shut off the whole system in order to do it. There are isolation valves that you can, and Kevin has helped give some input on what is needed down here for the system. So I guess where I'm going with that is if they were really truly a partner, why wouldn't some of that been asked for from the appropriations people as part of their list?
All right, didn't they ask for stuff, didn't they, Mr. King?
Yeah, we talked about this at the last meeting, remember, that I suggested that y'all, whether you get North Florida to write it up, or y'all get together and write it up, or I can write it up.
Right.
It's just got to be in there. The sooner the better, because right now they're in planning.
But no, what I'm saying, I guess what my question was is they showed up asking for stuff for the county though, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The chairman did.
Yes.
But there wasn't anything
But there
there
wasn't
for
anything
Fort
for
White.
the town of Fort White, because as the protocol goes, Fort White's stand on its own entity right now.
Right. I got you.
And that's why I spoke for you.
Right. I appreciate that too. Because we knew nothing of the meeting. I mean, when you called me and said, "Hey, where you at?" I went, "I'm at the dentist chair." Well, where you at? Where are you at? He was like, "I'm at the state." I said, "Do what?"
Yeah, we never.
And I called you and I said, "Miss Connie, we knew nothing about it. Nothing about it at all." Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
So I have a suggestion for this meeting. You don't want to go to Lake City. Lake City doesn't want to come here. Can you guys pick a neutral ground and meet at that specific location?
Well, cornfield or something, I guess. I don't know. No, listen, this involves the citizens of Fort White. This meeting, if they really want to have a meeting and they care about the citizens of Fort White, no matter if they got a problem with this board or not. Yeah, I don't know where you're from, but if you live inside of Fort White and you're here, you are a Columbia County citizen. They should have no problem with coming here representing themselves inside of Fort White, because y'all are Columbia County citizens. So we don't understand what the problem is.
What happens if they back out of the interlocal agreements? What happens to everybody here?
Well, that's what we was just answering. We've ran all this stuff before, but when they came on, they started wanting to take this stuff over. I was like, well, sure. If you want to take the water system over, and we kind of had discussed it as a board and said, we might be thinking about getting out of the water business, so if they want to take it over, sure. And we felt like they were helping at the time. Now it's coming to a situation where I don't feel like they're helping us at all. So we can take our stuff back over. We can grow our stuff as a town. Our town south. If you keep up with Columbia County, the growth is coming to the south end of Columbia County. So this little town's going to prosper. We just got to do it all the right way, and not, as Mr. Lindsay said, Mr. Carl says, not let the wrong people get their hands on what is happening here. And I feel that's what's happening. I feel like, if you've been, and I see this is probably your first meeting you've come to, we've been dealing with this for a while now. So this ain't the first time. So yeah, so it's gotten really bad. So yes, ma'am. So all that being said, we're, as I said earlier, what I thought was going to be a very fruitful relationship is not turned into being very fruitful at all. So,
are there any other parameters, Mr. Lindsay, that you cannot, besides the second and fourth Mondays? When else are you not available?
The first and third Tuesdays, and the second Thursday.
I'm busy.
The county's contention of not coming down here is because of the acoustics. They can't get their recordings on, but I don't know how many of y'all watch the YouTube videos.
It's terrible.
It's not the best up there.
Right. Well, right. It's not. I could half hear it and couldn't hear it, and then I'd hear parts of it, and I go, man, God dang. So, I
had to go get public records so I could be sure I was hearing what I thought I was hearing.
Well, I think if they really want this relationship between Fort White and them to really succeed, I think they'll make some exceptions. If they don't, then it kind of really...
I think they want the pressure, and I think it's all about, as somebody said, voting's coming up next year for certain members. They want to we're bending over backwards trying to help the city of Fort White. They won't even come talk to us.
Right.
I said that a while ago. That's just a boy. I wouldn't.
But I know a lot of, and I've talked to a lot of people here in Fort White, and I've talked to a lot of people in Columbia County. I don't think their message is getting out there very clear, I can tell you. Because I think they muddied the water a little bit with their message.
The more opportunity you give them, the more
more
shots on go.
Oh yeah. And I'm okay with me. Yes, sir.
One more thing. I think you hit the hammer, or the nail with a hammer a while ago when you said, we're down here, what do we got on the water system, 300 people ballpark?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
The county's got how much? And you enter an agreement with 5 pieces.
Right.
Okay. I think you hit it, buddy. We're going to be down here like this when it comes to appropriations. When it comes to, hey, let's put somebody out here. We need more money.
Right.
They're going to come to us for money for all the county.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So I think you really hit it.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's going to lessen our, we as a small municipality, we can apply for grants. And that's one of the reasons why Columbia County wanted us on their bandwagon, because they can apply through grants through us, but they reap all the rewards for it. We wouldn't see probably none of that money. So we're losing out in a lot of different areas that a lot of, your normal citizens don't understand municipality law, which I'm still trying to figure it out myself. But we're missing out on a lot of stuff that we can have our hands on for our residents that they're going to take, and we won't never see the money. So I think we're with all the information. I didn't even plan on coming to this meeting to get all this information. To be honest with you, I just couldn't plan on booking a meeting. But with all the information, and I guess Mr. Kuhn asked, are we on board with the Water Authority or not? I said no. I think Mr. King said no.
No,
I'm just no. Well, you're right. No, I guess he wanted he wanted a census. We're doing a census. We're not voting.
I'm undecided.
Right.
I see good points and bad points both ways.
Well, and I do.
But what is our option?
Right.
We've got about 3 or 4 options.
Well,
they can continue to do the water the way they're doing it if they would.
Mm-hmm.
we can take it back over and use our wells, or we can buy water from them.
Right.
Well,
they owe
I
us
mean,
water.
is there any more?
Well, they still owe the water. They said they're gonna run the water line.
We won't have to buy it.
Well, yeah.
Right, I mean, we would have to run it, I mean, I fully believe that. I'm just saying, what is our options? So, for me to know, if I'm on the same page y'all, that's
Yeah, I say
the 3 or 4 options we got.
I think Plan B is if for the, I mean, I don't,
Because I fully believe when they tie into it, our option is gonna be to buy water from them.
Right.
Because I do not believe the DEP will let them wells continue to pump water
right,
with good water in full up.
right. That'd be a question.
That's something I don't know.
You think they're gonna shut our wells down, is what you're saying?
I would think DEP's going to, yeah, because if you got clean water coming in down, why you gotta treat this water so hard? It's a fact that we got 2 contaminated wells.
Right.
That's a fact. Do I know that for sure? No, that's just me thinking. I mean,
Right.
what DEP gonna do?
What about the,
That leaves us one option, buying it from the county, which, I mean, I don't see no problem with that.
Right.
As long as they agree with the price.
well, you know they're undecided if they have enough water to send to us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I was.
We would agree
They about got that
upon
worked
that.
out.
Huh?
They about got that worked out. And, I mean, I'm just thinking for myself, I ain't sitting here telling y'all they blowing smoke up my butt. But I'm just sitting there saying.
I don't know how they got it figured out.
Well,
The last meeting we went to, they want enough water for the new Busy Bee.
Yeah.
So that's when they started saying, yeah, we ain't gonna run this water line to Fort White because we can make money and be at Busy Bee.
So that's the whole why they started trying to back out.
Now that's the backside of that
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
I say we have the meeting and see what happens with this interlocal agreement. If we don't agree with the water system and they ixnay all this, we know where they stand and what they.
I get, and we got to go to another meeting, guys, but I guess to put everybody at ease, all these interlocals that we've got with them, we've run them before.
Yeah.
So it ain't like we ain't run them. It ain't like we're getting into something we have no idea what we're getting into. It's just going to be an additive if we can buy water from the city, from the county. No big deal. We can buy water from them.
Still got free water.
So yes, I think that if they totally reject coming to our meeting for our residents, and they're not turning us down, they're turning the residents down. Well, I look at it.
Well,
They decided not to do that.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah.
They down here, so all
you can
the
sit there and say the
residents.
same thing about us. We're turning the residents now if we're not going to their meeting.
No, they didn't have it here. They didn't have it here. If they had it here, I would have
Let's say on one side, like, so he's going to look at it like, well, they don't give a shit about coming to our meeting.
Well, I know, because they had it up there.
We got more fuel up there.
It's both ways.
Well, the other thing is just because you go to a meeting and they demand an answer, doesn't mean you gotta
They
give
didn't
them.
demand that answer. They demanded
They
they
can
wanted us to
demand all
go to
they
the
want,
meeting.
that doesn't mean you gotta give them an answer that night.
No, it's all about negotiating if you're thinking about it. If you got 3, there's definitely a no, gonna be a no when we vote. There's no need it.
Let me ask you this question.
There's nothing can change the 3 minds.
Before-
4 might be 4, I don't know.
Before it got so out of hand, don't you think it would have been who of them to pick up the phone and call somebody and and that not worry about a
Rocky lives
meeting,
here.
huh?
Rocky lives here.
Yeah.
He's our neighbor.
Yeah.
Hell, we've known him our whole life.
Yeah. I mean,
And they
You know,
didn't
y'all-
make a meeting down here?
so I don't know. Anyway,
Carl said and the man said, we can keep knocking heads, but you ain't gonna get nowhere.
no.
If you don't have a meeting and discuss it, you ain't getting nowhere.
I don't agree, but, on the high school there, the chillers,
Uh-huh.
that water is suitable to run the chillers, which takes how many 1,000 gallons a day?
I mean, you know that, Kevin? Answer.
I know that our biggest problems come when they have a breakage in their chillers.
Right. So I just wonder if, well, we could, so you're right. So that what our well fills now, and listen, when we say the word contaminated, don't everybody freak out in the room, okay? It's that it's contaminated, it's just, it's got byproducts in it, it's got
too many.
Yes.
It's got
The disinfection
too many
byproducts.
disinfection byproducts.
But we have passed on several since I've been here.
Right.
They were running around the range of.
It's not, it doesn't have E. coli, okay?
Yeah, nobody he gonna fall out and get sick or nothing.
We were running around 300s when I got here. Now I'm down to almost passing.
Really? Okay.
Just with what I've done since I've.
And we haven't even put into what's that stuff called?
The Luma.
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
So
when that would be, so
okay.
it depends on what you guys end up doing is what's going to be best for there. That's all I can say about
Right.
it at the moment.
Well, hopefully, even if the county decides to continue running it, I don't know what direction. They might just tell us no, but hopefully they'll still replace it. I mean, if that's where we need to go at with it. I mean, regardless.
You also have a well field.
Right.
Well, are you talking on Camorra? Yeah, we just got to get the money to get the well fields back to here. So that's what I've been fighting for the last 6 years, trying to get the money to get the well. That's what I thought that the Columbia County was going to do in their first option. And why they didn't do that, I have no idea. So they decided to spend $3.5 million more dollars to run it from Ellisville. Yes, sir. Yes.
Back in the day when we had sand filters and chlorine, you had no problem.
Right.
When they went to charcoal filters and chlorine, everybody knew that there was going to be an issue. The EPA in Jacksonville knew it. The EPA in Washington knew it. We really, I don't think, knew that. When we made that transition, which when all this started with, with the two byproducts that no filtering will take out. Okay, rainwater come through Fort White and try to sell everybody water softeners to take that out when you put that first letter out to everybody, and everybody's going, oh my God, my kids are going to die.
Right.
Okay. Rainwater made $1 million.
Right.
Okay. Because they come in convincing everybody no filtration systems will remove those two little guys. That's just a byproduct, like you're saying. And why we did that, I think it was because we didn't know that back in the day when we shifted sand filter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The sand is actually for the iron content, basically to remove any of the iron bacteria that can come in. Then you're going to a hydrogen peroxide to take care of organics. The carbon removes organics, but doesn't get off. Yeah. And then push the chlorine away. That's what the byproducts are coming from. They won't there as a result of organics in the water.
All right, Mr. King, you have anything else that you took out of the meeting? Is there anything else off the top of your head? 'Cause, I don't know. So, Leslie, Mr. King?
No, just an old adage. If you can't burn them with meanness, kill them with kindness.
Right.
And I would say that, it's all politics, unfortunately.
And that's the sad thing about it, is what you just said, and that's what I feel like we kind of been doing. I know we haven't been going to the meetings, but guys, I don't think nothing good's going to come out of this meeting. So I was like, I think it's going to be really a black eye for both of us, because I think it's going to get pretty ugly. And I just don't think that there's a reason.
I disagree with you there. It's up to each and every one of us to control ourselves.
Well, it is.
If it gets ugly, just agree to leave.
Right.
Yeah.
He's speaking for himself.
Yes.
About getting ugly.
No,
he's the one that.
They want to get up and push my buttons is what they want to do.
Exactly. And you know that going in. You know it going in.
I just don't like nobody messing with Fort White. That's my problem.
That's my problem.
All right, guys. Thank you everyone for coming. We can't vote on anything tonight, but I think everybody's got the senses of the board. We'll see if they set a meeting up with us. If they don't, they might surprise us. You know what I'm saying? So,
I think that in the spirit of preservation, if you will, I'm not going to make a phone call. I'm going to email so that it's in writing.
That's right, yeah, most definitely. And guys, if y'all would please leave here, go to community center to the transportation meeting, because we got some agenda items that we're hoping they're going to get passed through DOT for us. So thank you guys, and the meeting is, I get a motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor, say aye. Good. Appreciate y'all guys. I'll see y'all at the community center.